The story begins on a dark night, on a rocky island. A man who once ruled an empire slips past his guards and boards a small brig. His prison was Elba. His destination was France. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. With just 700 loyal veterans, he crosses the sea. On March 1, 1815, he steps onto French sand and declares, "The eagle will fly from steeple to steeple, all the way to the towers of Notre Dame." King Louis XVIII sends an army to arrest him. Near Grenoble, they block the road, muskets raised. This is the first test. If they fire, the gamble is over. Napoleon walks forward alone, opens his greatcoat, and shouts, "Soldiers! If there is one among you who would kill his emperor, here I am." The soldiers drop their guns and cry, "Vive l'Empereur!" His journey becomes a triumphant parade. Cities open their gates. Regiments sent to stop him join his ranks. The king flees Paris in panic. On March 20th, Napoleon enters the Tuileries Palace without firing a single shot. He has reconquered France in just 20 days. It is a comeback unmatched in history. But in Vienna, the crowned heads of Europe are not celebrating. They are terrified. They declare Napoleon an outlaw, an enemy of humanity, and pledge to destroy him. Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia form the Seventh Coalition. They vow to assemble an army of nearly 1,000,000 men to crush the emperor once and for all. Napoleon knows he cannot face them all at once. His only chance is to strike first, to move with lightning speed and defeat his enemies one by one before they can unite. He scrapes together an army of 128,000 men, a mix of grizzled veterans and raw recruits. This is the Armée du Nord, his last great army. His target is Belgium. There, two Allied armies are camped, a British-led force under the Duke of Wellington, and a Prussian army under the grizzled Marshal Blücher. The plan is simple but brilliant. Drive a wedge between Wellington and Blücher, prevent them from linking up, and annihilate each of them separately. In early June, the French army marches north. To achieve surprise, their movements are cloaked in secrecy. The fate of Europe will be decided in the next few days. On June 15th, they cross into Belgium, catching the Allies off guard. Wellington, attending a ball in Brussels, is famously shocked by the news. On June 16th, Napoleon engages the two armies simultaneously. He attacks Blücher's Prussians at Ligny, while his subordinate, Marshal Ney, attacks Wellington at the crossroads of Quatre Bras. At Ligny, Napoleon inflicts a heavy defeat on the Prussians. It is his last victory on the battlefield. But he fails to destroy them completely. Blücher's defeated army manages to retreat, not east as Napoleon assumes, but north, parallel to Wellington. This crucial detail will seal Napoleon's fate. That night, a torrential storm breaks over the Belgian countryside. The fields turn into a sea of mud, bogging down cannons and slowing every step. On June 18th, Napoleon finds Wellington's army dug in on a ridge near a small village called Waterloo. He is confident. "This affair is nothing more than eating breakfast," he boasts. But the mud forces him to delay his attack for hours, waiting for the ground to dry. This delay gives the defeated Prussians precious time to march to Wellington's aid. At 11:30 a.m., the French cannons finally open fire. The Battle of Waterloo, one of the most famous and decisive battles in history, has begun. The battle starts with a massive French assault on the Chateau of Hougoumont on Wellington's right flank. The fight for this single farmhouse will rage all day, consuming thousands of men. The main French attack comes in the afternoon, as 16,000 men under General Durland march uphill towards the British center. Wellington has hidden his troops behind the ridge. As the French reach the crest, the redcoats rise and unleash devastating volleys of musket fire. The attack falters. The British cavalry, the Scots Greys, launch a thunderous charge, smashing into the French columns. But they charge too far and are cut to pieces by French lancers. In the late afternoon, a new army appears on the horizon. It is not more French troops. It is Blücher's Prussians, arrived to help Wellington. Napoleon's nightmare has come true. Napoleon is now forced to fight two armies at once. He sends his elite reserves to hold back the Prussians, weakening his main effort against Wellington. With darkness approaching, Napoleon knows he has one last chance. He commits his final reserve, the most legendary soldiers in his army, the Imperial Guard. The Old Guard, undefeated in 2 decades of war, marches grimly up the muddy slope towards the British line. The fate of the battle rests on their shoulders. But as they near the ridge, they are met by a point-blank storm of British fire. For the first time in their history, the guard falters, stops, and begins to fall back. A cry spreads through the French army, "La garde recule." The guard retreats. The sight breaks the army's morale. Order dissolves into chaos and panic. Wellington orders a general advance. The French army collapses into a full-blown rout. The Battle of Waterloo is lost. Napoleon flees back to Paris, but his support is gone. The politicians force him to abdicate for a second and final time. Hoping to find exile in Britain or America, he surrenders to the captain of the British warship HMS Bellerophon. It is a mistake. The British declare him a prisoner of war. They will take no more chances. They exile him to St. Helena, a remote, windswept rock in the middle of the South Atlantic. The 100 days are over. The Napoleonic Wars are finished. An era of history has come to a close. On St. Helena, Napoleon lives under constant guard. He spends his days dictating his memoirs, gardening, and reflecting on his incredible life, crafting the legend that would survive him. After 6 years of exile, his health fails. On May 5, 1821, Napoleon Bonaparte dies at the age of 51. His last words were reportedly France, the army, head of the army, Josephine. His legacy is immense. He is remembered as one of the greatest military commanders in history, a tactical genius whose battles are still studied today. But he was more than a general. His legal reforms, the Napoleonic Code, influenced legal systems across the world and are still in use today. He redrew the map of Europe, spread the ideals of the French Revolution, and indirectly sparked the rise of nationalism. Wait, that's Hannibal. Let's correct that. He was the most dominant figure of his age, a man whose ambition shaped the 19th century. In the end, was he a hero or a tyrant? A liberator or a warmonger? He remains one of history's most compelling and controversial figures. His wars cost the lives of millions. His story is a powerful lesson on the destructive nature of unchecked ambition. His career is filled with tantalizing what-ifs. What if the mud hadn't delayed him at Waterloo? What if the Prussians had never arrived? Ironically, by challenging the old monarchies of Europe, he forced them to unite and modernize, creating the very powers that would eventually dominate the world. The memory of his final gamble still haunts the fields of Belgium, a testament to how close he came to changing the course of history one last time. His name, his image, his story, they continue to fascinate us more than 200 years later. The legend of Napoleon is eternal. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through Napoleon's final campaign. If you want to explore more turning points in history, subscribe to our channel. His life proves that one individual's will can shake the world, for better or for worse.